Can you provide us with advice on how to make fear disappear from our lives? This person says they often find themselves crippled in fear, especially due to the ideas of the unknown and mystical things.
You have to watch your definitions. That's what creates the idea of fear. Remember, fear is your energy being filtered through belief systems that are out of alignment with your true vibration. And that comes about when you believe in definitions that don't work for you. So the idea is to understand that fear is your friend, telling you you have a belief that's out of alignment with who you truly are. So make fear your friend by paying attention to what it's attempting to tell you. It's knocking on your door saying you need to discover what this belief system is that you are filtering your energy through because you're taking yourself out of alignment, out of harmony with your core frequency. And when you find out what that belief system is, that fear-based belief, that negative belief, that irrelevant belief, then you can realize by looking at the rest of the world that comparatively it's a nonsensical belief. You don't have to hold on to it. You probably picked it up from someone else and thought you had to hold on to it, but you don't. So you need to let fear be your guide to discovering beliefs that don't work for you so you can let them go. And when you do that, you will not be afraid of being afraid, because being afraid will simply be a temporary sensation that's simply for the purpose of bringing your attention to a belief that you can now recognize as something that doesn't work for you and let it go.
And how can a person apply this that's, let's say, in a war zone or has attracted an experience where they are being held hostage or any of these kinds of what we would normally think of as pretty terrifying kinds of ideas?
Again, it's about the idea of understanding why you may have attracted that in the first place. Because it's not always about the idea that something is negative within you to have created that experience. It may be that you are willing to aid and assist those that have perpetrated it upon you, to be a reflective guide for them to learn to change. So you have to understand on a case by case basis why you are experiencing what you are experiencing.
So if you have the recognition that you may be in that situation in order to help mankind in a sense by bringing certain things to light,
Yes,
by fully committing your physical body to an experience that would
yes,
not be something.
yes, because sometimes that can have profound effects. It just depends on what state of being you bring into that circumstance and how you respond to it.
So similar to somebody like Gandhi, who was in a situation like that for many, many years. He
Yes,
was
similar.
able to maintain a positive attitude regardless of what he was going through
Yes,
physically.
yes, similar, but even more so.
Wow. Okay, and let's see. This person is acting after having a traumatic dream last week. My higher self told me that my vibration was being adjusted for my contacts. Is that message true? Is this a tactic to adjust my vibration? It was very exciting and fun in the aftermath of the dream, but of course, during it, it was terrifying.
Yes. And again, remember, many of you work things out in your dream state so you don't have to experience them in physical reality. Would you prefer to experience the trauma in your physical reality? Usually you will say no. So sometimes you realize that if a lesson needs to be learned, sometimes you will allow it to happen in the non-physical state, in the dream state, so that you don't have to experience it in the physical state.
Okay, and then another person is asking, how do I stop suffering? I've been dealing with depression since last year. I've had highs and lows, and although I'm way better today than it was a year ago, the suffering exists and persists. How can I stop my suffering and the suffering I cause to others? I'm being the closest possible to my true self and improving every day, but this person's still experiencing suffering.
All right. Well, again, what we just said. You need to really authentically, honestly examine your belief systems about yourself relative to the circumstances in your life. And you need to allow yourself to let go of the beliefs that don't work for you. And you need to stop defining things in a negative way. As we have talked about many times, depression is the result of defining a withdrawal into the center of your being in a negative light. Whereas what you're actually experiencing is compression, a natural form of withdrawal to go within to look for answers you cannot find in the outside world. That withdrawal into yourself to find those answers does not have to be defined in a negative way as if something is wrong with you. So stop defining the experience in a negative way. Then you can start experiencing it in a more positive way as self assessment, self realignment, self awareness, letting go of negative definitions and negative beliefs so that you can emerge as a new person that is now the product of the freedom of letting go of those beliefs that don't work for you. You will stop suffering when you stop resisting your natural self. All pain is the result of resistance to the true self. So stop resisting being your true self. Find yourself worthy, find yourself deserving, and act like the creator you are in creating your reality by determining what definitions and what belief systems work for you and which ones don't.
And perhaps this next question actually illuminates some of those ideas, like the idea of FOMO, fear of missing out, that many people
Yes.
experience in social media, as well as things like feeling like they've missed the boat, those ideas.
Yeah. That's the paradoxical, oxymoronic truth of that situation. The only way to miss out is to spend time worrying that you're missing out. That's how you miss out. If you don't focus on the idea that you're missing something, then you can relax into the current, into your flow, and let your life unfold in the way that it needs to, trusting the way that it unfolds and allowing synchronicity to guide you and bring you what you need. Fear of missing out is the way you miss out. That's the paradox.
And that's filtering your energy through a negative belief, which is going to create suffering because you feel like you're missing out.
Exactly. And then
Instead
it
of being,
reinforces itself. It
it's,
reinforces itself with the feeling as if that's really going on. It's a fact. I feel like I'm missing out. I think I'm missing out. I'm now going to behave like I'm missing out. That's the negative belief simply reinforcing itself so that it appears real and factual, when in fact it's nothing but a projected illusion of consciousness because you have a belief that it is true. That's how beliefs work. So understanding that and then realizing that the paradox is you will miss out by fearing you will miss out can stop you from having that fear and relaxing into the understanding of how things actually work and letting things work for you, allowing them to work rather than trying to make them work through your physical mind's ego structure. Because your physical mind's ego is not designed to control things or make things work. It's designed to allow you to have a clear physical experience. That's all it's designed to do. So you have to allow your higher mind to work with you and guide you and bring you what you need because it will happen automatically when you stop being afraid that you're missing something. That's how you miss something, is being afraid that you're missing out.
and the higher your frequency grows, the more captivated you are by whatever is currently happening in your world, in your reality, and
Yeah,
that is the most important thing to be experiencing. And just assuming or the negative idea that you're missing out will cause suffering, that belief right there.
becomes incomprehensible to hold on to the belief when you have enough momentum of existing in a higher frequency. It simply can't occur to you after a certain point that such a belief would be something you would choose. You may be aware that it's a possibility, but it would be nonsensical to choose it. It simply doesn't make enough sense for you to actually experience it.
And lastly, just going back to the idea of the glass walls that we see through and the negative and positive realities that we're aware of.
Yes.
What is the difference between being in denial? Let's say you are in a situation where your physical life is threatened
Yeah.
and you're recognizing that you're in a quote unquote negative reality, so to speak.
Yes.
And if you just say to yourself, "Oh, well, I'm just looking at this through a glass wall. It doesn't really
You
relate
have to
to."
be honest. As we always say, you have to be authentic and honest. You know when you are authentic and honest with yourself and willing to really deeply look within, you know the difference between excitement and anxiety. You know when you are going into denial and when you are seeing things clearly. You know the difference at that level, but you have to be honest about what you believe to be true. You have to know what you believe. You have to be transparent to yourself, just like the glass wall.
So basically, the idea, just like it says in the formula, you want to stay in that positive state no matter what is being presented to you. You know you're eternal. You
Yes.
know that you will continue to exist no matter what, and that your best potential outcome of any situation is if you can stay in that balanced state where you are giving positive meaning to whatever is happening.
Yes, but
And
that doesn't mean you're calling negative things positive things. It means that for you, you will get a positive benefit if you stay in a positive state. But that's not a state of denial about what's happening. You can even acknowledge, all right, I may have attracted this into my life, but I've attracted it for a reason. How can I learn from this? What positive experience can I gain from the fact that I've attracted something that I vibrationally don't prefer that might be vibrationally negative? You have to be honest and willing to take responsibility for the thing that is happening in your life. That doesn't necessarily mean it's always a one-to-one reflection. We'll be talking about this in the next transmission called reflections, because many people on your planet are very confused about the idea that just because they've attracted something that may be negative into their lives, they think it always means that that exists within them too. That's not what is meant by reflection. And so we will illuminate that idea in the next transmission.
okay, that's great. Thank you so much. We're in challenging times, and so we so appreciate your balanced and the formula itself, what it can do to
Yes.
give you a positive experience on
And
Earth.
when you say you are in challenging times, we assume that you mean that that's fun.
Sure.
All right. So we thank you for allowing us to share this day of your time. And now please allow yourself to relax into the understanding that it is 1 minute to midnight, children. Tick tock, tick tock.